Hello everyone and welcome to the very end of 2018. This is my last broadcast. Now I know yesterday when I made the announcement, some of you were like, what? What do you mean the last live broadcast? I meant the last live broadcast of 2018 because I will be taking a week off to spend some time with my family for the Christmas holidays, and I hope that you'll be doing the same thing as well. And so you won't be seeing any more live broadcasts from me until 2019. Gosh, where has this year gone? It's been crazy. Now, of course, this has been a big year for me. I had lots of highlights that I can look back on and say, actually, this is probably the best year of my life. Now, I want to know about your highlights of 2018. A highlight is a special moment that stands up above other moments. For example, if you're watching sports, at the end of a football match, perhaps they might go back and show you the highlights, the special moments. What are the highlights for you of this year? For me, I had a baby, of course, and I moved into my lovely new home. And so these were some big highlights in my year. Lots of you joining me. Wow, hello. Hi, hello everyone. I've got Real English Learning. I've got Joe. I've got Lamay, Hanif, Khalid. Hello everyone. It's lovely to have you here for this very last broadcast. So as always, these are especially for you to improve your English. So today I thought we'd do something slightly different and look at vocabulary that we use when talking about the end of things. And then this threw up a little problem between the words end and finish. End and finish are interchangeable pretty much, but there are rules. And oh, ding dong, there's the door. Don't worry, my partner's going to get that. There are rules as to when you would use end and when you would use finish. So I'm going to look at that now so that we can make that nice and clear for everyone. Now I do have my patron Skype room open, so patrons feel free to say hello in the Skype room. That's also there for the VIPs as well. All right, so here we go. It's 11 o'clock in the morning for those of you asking. Actually, no, it's 20 past 11. I'm a little bit late today. So let's have a look at these notes, shall we? Let's get straight on into it. So end versus finish. They both mean to come to a stop. But when we're talking about the word end, this is commonly used. Now, not always, but commonly used when important changes are involved. When there's an important change. Or when stopping something is significant. So I've given you some examples here and I want you to write one of your own examples as well. So here are some example sentences. The war finally ended. The war finally ended. And we've used end in this sentence because the end of a war is significant. That brings an important change. So the war has finally ended. Now, if you said the war has finished, everybody would know what you meant, but it's just not the commonly used word. We more commonly use end and ended, okay? So, the war finally ended. The next sentence I've given you here is, after 10 years together, we have decided to end our relationship. After 10 years together, we have decided to end our relationship. Obviously, a relationship is a big thing in someone's life. Your relationship with your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, or it could be a relationship with a best friend. Now, if you end that relationship, it's a big change in your life. It's very significant. So that is why we're using end instead of finish. Okay, I could say I finished my relationship, but it would sound a little odd to a native. Okay, so some of you are a little confused. I'm not Lucy. Lucy is a lot younger than me and blonde. I am Anna, okay? So yeah, I'm not Lucy. That's weird that you're thinking I'm Lucy. Yeah, okay, let's carry on. So, end our relationship. Now the last one I've put here is an example of end that you might see often, and it's the phrase happy ending. So here I said the story had a happy ending. They all lived happily ever after. The story had a happy ending. Okay, and the end of a story is significant. It's a significant thing. How does a story end? It's quite an important thing, and that's why we're using end instead of finish. Okay, and just so you know, those of you who are sending inappropriate messages, no one can see them, and I just block them. So you're wasting your time if you're being inappropriate. That's a nice way to end the year, isn't it? I've not had any of those for a while. Okay, so I want you to now try and write a sentence using end, okay? So, Daria, you said, can it be used end about the finishing of university? You could say at the end of my time at university, at the end of my time at university, or at the end of my course. But you normally, and this is what I'm going to come on to, if it's something you're doing, it's an action that you're doing, it's a continuous, then we tend to use finish. So you'd say, I've finished my course, I'm finishing my course, because it's something that you do. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. We're going to come on to finish in a second. Let's have a look. Is the beginning of the end? Pedro, this is the beginning of the end. That's quite a common phrase, actually. Yes, very good. The beginning of the end. So when things have really changed and we're coming towards the end, and you feel that change to come towards the end of something, then you say this is the beginning of the end. For example, if we're on the subject of relationships, perhaps something happens. Perhaps there's one big argument or big disagreement that really puts distance between the two people in the relationship. You could say that argument was the beginning of the end of their relationship. That argument was the beginning of the end. Okay, what else have we got? Is this the end of your lessons? That's a good sentence using end. Of course, I'm going to continue to provide lessons for you, and I will also be providing live lessons, but this is the last live lesson of 2018. So, how to use end in sports? Well, you could talk about the end of someone's career, couldn't you? So you could say, David Beckham had a wonderful career, but he ended his career on a high. He ended his career on a high. Anyone else with any? Here we go, Daria. I decided to end the contract with my boss. Can I say it like that? Yes, you can end your contract. I decided to end my contract. That's a perfect sentence. I decided to end my contract. Can you pronounce this phrase for me? Nailed it. Nailed it. I nailed it. Okay, let's carry on and have a look at finish. The word finish. So as I mentioned earlier, we commonly use finish. Sorry, you can hear Jacob crying in the background. We commonly use finish when you stop something you're doing. So we use it when the following verb has an ing ending. Now you can't use end if the following verb has an ing ending. Okay? So it has to be finish. Finish and ing. And also with finish, it would never be followed with to and the infinitive of a verb. Okay, so you can't say I finished to write a letter. I finished to write a letter. Oh dear, Jacob is distracting me. Poor little baby. Okay, so the example sentences I've given here are, let me finish writing this letter and then I will help you. Let me finish writing this letter and then I will help you. I hope he's not distracting you guys. He's been very fussy recently. I think he's going through a growth spurt. Okay, so we used finish there instead of end because the following verb has an ing ending. Let me finish writing this letter. The next sentence is, have you finished eating your breakfast? Have you finished eating your breakfast? Okay, so I've used finished because the next verb is an ing ending. Have you finished eating your breakfast? And And then the next sentence we've got is, he finished decorating the bathroom yesterday. He finished decorating the bathroom yesterday. Okay, the baby is crying. I'm not sure why. Daddy's dealing with him. He's definitely not hungry because he's just had a lot of food. He's probably tired. So please don't worry. He's absolutely fine. Daddy has him under control. Okay, so let's carry on. So here we have a little competition or a little quiz for you to try and figure out which is the best one to use, end or finish. Okay, so here we go. I want you to see if you can figure it out. Here we go. We need to something making this cake. We need to something making this cake. So which one do we use here? Do we use end or do we use finish? Let me know. Do we use end? We need to end making this cake. Or do we use finish? We need to finish making this cake. And the answer is... Anyone got it? We need to finish. We need to finish making this cake. Okay? And it's finished because the following word ends with an ing. Okay, in the following one, lots of you getting that right. Well done, nice and easy. So the next one here is, he was searching for... Oh, hang on, I've made a typo. He was searching for answers, it was supposed to be. The searching for answers towards the something of his life. He was searching for answers towards the end of his life, or he was searching for answers towards the finish of his life. Which one? Yeah, lots of you got it. Towards the end of his life, because the end of his life, when his life comes to a close, that's a very significant thing, and it will very much change for him when his life ends. So we use end of life rather than finish of life. Okay, yes, lots of you quite distressed by Jacob crying. Me too. It really upsets me when he cries, but he is with Daddy and Daddy's soothing him, so please don't worry about Jacob's well-being. He's absolutely fine. I think he just gets upset when he doesn't have Mummy's full attention. I was definitely the same when I was a kid, always wanting my mum's full attention. Okay, so the next one, let's see if we can get this one, is the show will something at 9:45. The show will something at 9:45. Will it end or will it finish? The show will... So I would find this one difficult because as a native, I'd say actually the show will end at 9:45. The show will finish at 9:45. Both of them feel natural to me, and actually both would be accepted. But if we're going by the rules that we've learnt, then you would say the show will end. The show will end. Would you? The show will finish. The show's been going on. I think for that one, we could use both. Now, there is another thing when we're using specific times. So this is another additional rule. When we're using specific times, it's more likely for us to use finish. Okay, so actually my feeling is to go with the show will finish at 9:45, but as a native, if you said the show will end at 9:45 or the show will finish at 9:45, both would be perfectly acceptable. But I think actually the natural answer would be, oh, that baby crying has made my brain go crazy. The show will finish at 9:45. So we use finish more often when using specific times. Okay. All right, the next one, let's have a look. At the something of the day, we will all meet up. At the something of the day, we will all meet up. At the end of the day, we will all meet up. Or at the finish of the day, we will all meet up. Which one do you think it is? Anyone? Yep, you've got it. At the end of the day. At the end of the day, we will all meet up. Okay, fantastic. You guys have got this down. So, like I said, these words, we can use them interchangeably in a lot of examples, but If it's something you're doing, ing, then we use finish. Usually if it has a specific time within the sentence, we use finish. If it indicates something significant changing, if it's an important change, we tend to use end. Okay? All right, so let's carry on. Now, beyond end and finish, we have some other words that we might use when something stops. And stop is one of them. So let's have a look. When would we use stop? So stop is used often, and it's used often when we're commanding or requesting something to end or something to finish. If I want you to finish doing something instantly, it's normally quite an instant thing, I would say stop. So here are some examples. Can you stop what you're doing and come with me? Can you stop what you are doing and come with me? And here we have stop shouting. So that's a command. Stop shouting, the baby is asleep. Stop shouting, the baby is asleep. Okay, so stop is more often used when you're commanding or requesting. Or if something is sudden, when something ends suddenly. So you might say, the show stopped because of the fire alarm, or I stopped eating when I heard the news. Yeah, so when something ends suddenly, we can use stopped. And bless, Strongway has sent a super chat of €10. Thank you so much. And you said, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, Anna, your beautiful family, and all of us. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. And yes, anyone who is celebrating Christmas, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. And of course, I wish everyone a very Happy New Year. So thank you very much. Okay, so that's when we would use stop. And then we also have some other phrases. For example, we have terminate. Terminate. Now this makes me think of Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. Terminate is often used when discussing contracts or transport final destinations. So for example, I might say to you, because you've not done a good job, I am going to terminate your contract. I'm going to terminate your contract. You will no longer work with us. I'm going to terminate your contract. Or it is used often when you're taking public transport. So the trains or the bus, for example, or the tubes if you're in London or in any major cities that have underground. So for example, if I'm on the train, I would often hear, the next stop is London Waterloo, where this train will terminate. So this train will end its journey. Okay? Or if you're on the bus and suddenly something changes, they might say, everybody off the bus, this service, it has been terminated. This service has been terminated. Okay, let me just jump over very quickly. Do try and write something using these words, and I will, if I see them, try and help you if it's incorrect. Okay, hello Andreas, nice to see you. Hello Alexandra. And when the doorbell rang, our teacher stood up and said, stop writing please. On the way home, I stopped to buy some milk at the supermarket. Perfect, Alexander. Thank you so much for those examples. Very well done. You are very advanced with your English. Okay, anyway, stop. Your kids is crying. So, kids plural, and then you used is. Kids plural, you'd use are. Your kids are crying. And it would be ing, something continuous, crying. Okay, what else do we have? What about hang on and hold your horses? Really, really great examples. Yes, so we often use hang on when we're asking people to wait. So it's not a complete stop, we're just saying wait. So it's slightly different, but I will add it on here. Let me put it on at the end here. So hang on equaling wait. And then you said hold your horses, which again is the same as wait. Hold your horses. Or it could be the same as slow down. So hold your horses, slow yourself. So if you're running off to the shop, you're saying, I'm going to go and buy a new computer. I've just won some money. I'm going to go and buy a new computer. And I'd say, hold your horses, slow down. Think about it for a minute. Do you really need a new computer? Don't you need to fix your leaky roof? So hold your horses is more like wait or slow down. Thank you for that suggestion. That's really, really helpful. By the way, these notes will be available for patrons and VIPs, and I will probably put them up to download from my website as well at some point, but you'll have to give me time to sort that out. The website is britishenglishpro.com, just in case you're not familiar with that. Constantine has said, stop making noise. It's getting on my nerves. Perfect. So that's a command. Stop making noise. Any others? The baby was stopping to cry when his daddy was singing. The baby stopped crying. So it's something that just happens. The baby stopped crying, that's continuous. Stopped crying because he continued to cry and then it just stopped. Okay, the baby stopped crying when his daddy started singing, you could say. All right, let's move on. So what else do we have? So we just talked about terminate. We also have the word cease, which I don't hear as often, but you might read it in the newspapers or in any kind of articles, news reports. So, for example, I might read, since the games began, all hostilities between the two sides have ceased. Okay, so it's a little bit more of a technical word. Okay, so then we have the word complete. Now, this is commonly used for finishing paperwork. So you complete your reports, and I think that's what I've used in the example. Or you might complete your course, complete your PhD. You could say I've completed my paperwork. Or when you finish a big task. So here are some examples. The builders completed the palace renovation in record time. So that's a big task that has finally been completed. Otherwise, you might use finish would be the other good option because it's something that's ongoing. They were renovating, so they finished renovating. And then we have, I hope to complete my report first thing in the morning. I hope to complete my report first thing in the morning. Okay, so those ones are nice and easy. Okay, have I got any examples for those ones? So, how do you use ceasefire? Can you tell me? You'd say there is a current ceasefire. They've agreed to a ceasefire. I hope that answers your question. I completed my master's degree in 2010, said Matsi. Yes, well done. Perfect sentence. Oh, bless you. Massimo, thank you very much for your super chat donation. That's very kind of you. Anyone dropping a super chat, if you're not a patron or a VIP but you'd like a copy of the notes as a thank you for your super chat, please drop me an email and I will send you the notes over. So yes, thank you very much for that. She never ceases to amaze me, says Ruxar. That's a really good sentence because actually that's a phrase we use often. It never ceases to amaze me, or he never ceases to amaze me. So if you're shocked by something in a good way or a bad way, you could use a sentence like, his bad behaviour never ceases to amaze me. I cannot believe he's so naughty. His bad behaviour never ceases to amaze me. Or if someone's just bought you a wonderful gift and surprised you, you never cease to amaze me. Literally, I'm always amazed by you. So that's a really good one to bring up. Thank you very much. Okay, Daria has used to terminate. You said he terminated him with cruelty. Can it be used to describe murder? If you were playing computer games, then perhaps you would terminate someone. It sounds more robotic, to be honest. You can say his life was terminated. And with most of these phrases, if you interchange them, everyone would understand what you mean, but it's a bit odd. It doesn't feel very natural to talk about murder. You'd use the word end. He ended his life, you'd say, rather than terminated. Terminated is very, very, it's like switching off a machine. So perhaps if someone is on life support, you might terminate them, but again, it sounds weird, so I'd say no, don't use that one for end of life. May I ask the difference between how I learnt English and how did I learn? How I learnt English, how did I learn? They are completely different. I'm not going to go into that now because it's off topic, okay? So I'm just going to stick to the topic. Thomas, when you're talking about Mortal Kombat, the game, you said finish him. Yes, you're often, if your opponent is on their last legs, then you might get the big flashing words on screen saying finish him. And that's when you terminate that person. She got frustrated and terminated the relationship. Again, terminated feels a lot more clinical and more mechanical. When it comes to feelings, I would use end or finish. She ended the relationship. It's more significant. That's why I would use end. Or you could use finish the relationship and that wouldn't be so bad. But terminated the relationship just is wrong. Okay, let's move on. So we added in those suggestions, didn't we? The hang on and hold your horses. Oh, and I've just got a few examples here from Andreas. You've said, there has been a second battle in Spain which terminated in favour of King Charles. Yeah, terminated feels weird in this scenario. It's not incorrect. It just feels odd. The train will terminate at Courchevel. That's perfect. I completed the course with success. Perfect. Or you could say, I successfully completed the course. That would work even better. Okay, let's jump onto the notes. So we've added these two in, and now we're going to look at some other phrases. And one I use all the time and people always ask me about is to wrap up. To wrap up. Now, you would use wrap up. Imagine if you have a cake. You've made the cake, it's perfect, and then you're going to take it somewhere. You need to wrap it up to keep it safe and give it over. So it's the same when you're doing a presentation of some sort, giving a speech. At the end of the speech, you're going to say a few things that just wrap it all up so you can finish it off. So when I'm doing a presentation, I will often say, or if I'm doing a lesson, okay guys, it's time to wrap up. I'm going to wrap up this presentation. I'm going to wrap up this speech by saying, Happy Christmas. Okay, so wrap up you can use often to end a presentation. You'll also hear on a film set, when they finish filming, they'll say, that's a wrap. They've wrapped it up. That's a wrap. But you'd only use that's a wrap at the end of a film set. At the end of filming on a film set. Don't use it anywhere else. Okay, so wrap up. We also have the phrase polish off. Now I love this phrase. This is often used when talking about food and drink. So if you finish your drink, usually it's if you do it fast, then you can say, I've polished it off. Or I might say to you, polish off that drink. As in just, quickly drink it and let's finish it. Or if I'm very hungry, I might polish off all the food. So I eat it. It's like you've polished the plate. You've polished the plate by cleaning it of all the food. So it means to eat something in entirety or to drink something in entirety. So I polished off all the drink in the house. I polished off all the food in the fridge. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so Movie Disc has said, oh, coffee is nice. Coffee is a nice idea. I end my coffee too. Okay, so when you have a coffee, you're drinking it. So it's something that you're doing, you're drinking. And when you've ended your drink, it's finished, okay? So you'd say, I finished my drink, I finished my coffee, because it was something you were drinking, it was something you were doing. Remember the rule. If you're doing something, we use finish instead of end. So I understand what you mean when you say, I've ended my coffee, but it sounds really odd. You'd say, I finished my coffee. Okay. Ray, stunning lad one, has said, we will polish off our Christmas dinners for sure. Yes, we will. We definitely will. Okay. I will eat like a horse. I will eat like a horse and polished off the burger. So I will eat, you're talking in the future, and then polished off, you're talking in the past. So that sentence is a little odd. It's got conflicting tenses. So you could say, I will eat like a horse and polish off the burger. So that's all in the same tense. That works. Or you could say, I ate like a horse and polished off the burger. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Okay, let's have a quick look at what Alexandra has just posted. What's this? Perhaps we could try and something our little misunderstanding of last week. Work out, polish off, clear up, wear off. Ooh, does anyone know the answer to that? Perhaps we could try and work out our little misunderstanding of last week. Perhaps we could try and polish off our little understanding of last week. I wouldn't say polish off would work. Perhaps we could try and clear up our little misunderstanding last week. Or perhaps we could try and wear off our little misunderstanding of last week. So wear off definitely doesn't work, and polish off doesn't work. Perhaps we could try and work out our little misunderstanding. You'd work out your differences, so I would say C. Perhaps we could try and clear up. So to clear something up is to sort something out, to clear it up. You could also say clear up for cleaning, but you can clear up a misunderstanding. That's often used. Clear up a misunderstanding. So I would say C, Alexander. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, Andreas, I agree with you. Well done. And lots of you saying clear up. Good. Really nice. Thanks for sharing that. That was good. Okay, we're coming to the end now. We're about to wrap up. So sometimes we say all done. And this is something I say actually to Jacob a lot, because Jacob gets upset when I'm changing his nappy. So when his nappy has been changed, I say, all done. No need to cry anymore. All done. It's the same as saying it's all finished. It's all done. I could say, have you completed all that paperwork you needed to get done? You could say, yep, it's all done. All done. I'm happy. It's all done. We could also say to bring something to a close, or to bring something to an end. It's similar to wrap up. So you could say at the end of a presentation, okay guys, I'm going to bring this lesson to a close by saying Happy Christmas and have a wonderful New Year. So to bring something to a close or to bring something to an end, more commonly I'd say with presentations. Yeah. Now this is a fun one. It's not over till the fat lady sings. It's not over till the fat lady sings. And this basically means nothing is set in stone. Nothing is irreversible. It can be changed until the very final moment. So there's still chance, is what you're saying. There's still a chance to change things. It's not over. And that's what this saying means. It's not over till the fat lady sings. Now, there is a lot of discussion about where this phrase comes from. Some people say it comes from opera, when the diva comes out at the end and does the big final song where she dies. Normally in opera, someone will die at the end. Some people say it comes from film. Some people, there's lots of different arguments about where this comes from. You can go and research it if you're really interested, but you might hear this phrase in a film. It's not over till the fat lady sings. Let's keep trying to make a difference. And similar to that, you could say it's not over till it's over. It's not over till it's over. It just means it's not over yet. There's still time. So this year, it's not over till it's over. For example, at the beginning of this year, I wanted to hit 500,000 subscribers on this channel. It's not likely that that's going to happen, since we're only at about 370 subscribers at the moment. So it's not likely to happen. But you might say to me, Anna, it's not over till it's over. It's not over till the fat lady sings. and you're telling me there is still a chance for me to achieve something that seems unachievable. Okay, and then we've got 3 more sayings here. We've got happy when it's over. Now, I wrote this because a lot of people will say, I'll see on Facebook this time of year, oh, I'll be happy when this year is over. I'll be happy when it's over. And I think it's quite self-explanatory. It's just suggesting that you're relieved that something has come to an end. And many people feel like the start of a new year is a chance for them to begin again, to refresh everything, to analyze and refocus, and so a lot of them say, I'm happy when it's over. I will be happy when it's over. Or Stunning Lad has just brought up another good one. You might hear, I'm going to put it up here. Similar to bring to a close, draw to a close, draw to a close. The word draw, it's interesting. It's not the same as when you put pen to paper to draw. Some uses of the word draw means like to bring together. For example, or how do I explain this? You can draw the curtains, which means bring them together. If something draws to a close, it means it comes to a close. You can also, although I think this is quite old-fashioned, draw a bath, which means you run a bath. So that's quite an interesting one. Thank you, Stunning Lad, for that. Then we have this one. This isn't very nice. You'd be glad to see the back of them or something or someone. So if you really don't like someone and they finally leave, you're like, oh, I'm glad to see the back of them. Or you could say, I'm glad to see the back of 2018. So when someone leaves, you see their back. And that's what you're saying. I'm glad to see the back of them because they're going. It's ending. It's over. Woohoo. Okay, so a lot of people say, I'm glad to see the back of 2018. And they're just saying, I'm glad it's over. Okay, and then the final one, which I've got on this list, is good riddance. Good riddance. This is just an expression to say goodbye, I'm happy you're gone. Perhaps sometimes it's used in a sarcastic way. So if you have, let's imagine you're in a bad relationship and you finally dump someone, you get rid of them. If you get rid of them, you might say good riddance, meaning I'm glad I have rid myself of you. Good riddance. You might say 2018, good riddance. I'm glad to see the back of you. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. It's just, you wouldn't really use it in a sentence, but it's an expression that you would use on its own. Good riddance. Okay, let's have a look at your comments. 2018 is good because baby English arrived. Thank you, Ray. That's very sweet of you. Yes, it has been, like I said, a big highlight for me. Is this your last class ever? Is she saying goodbye for good? No, I'm not saying goodbye for good, just goodbye for this year. There may be one more video before the close of 2018, but it won't be a live lesson. Real English learning. Anna, I want to ask you a question. Is it going to be perfect if someone speaks with many accents? Because I know many accents. Perfect. So whichever accent you choose to speak with is completely up to you. And it doesn't matter if you choose to speak American English or British English, Australian English, Canadian English. It's completely up to you. And there's no right or wrong or perfect accent to have. It's the most important thing is being able to communicate clearly and perhaps without distraction. There are many people who can speak very clearly and are easily understood, but their accents are a little unusual, and therefore people are distracted when they talk to you because your accent is a little different. And all they can think about is, where are you from? Where is your accent from? And they're not really listening to what you're saying. They care more about how you sound. And so I think choosing the right accent for you to be able to communicate and to fit in to whichever community you're wanting to fit in with, whether it's to be taken seriously for work or just to fit in with the local people around you and to feel part of the community. So yeah, no perfect accent, just whichever accent works for you. Are you from the US? No, I'm from England. I'm living in the outskirts of London. What else do we have? Do you provide private lessons? Unfortunately, no, I don't. It's too difficult with my little baby. But I do private live lessons now with my patrons and VIPs. So if you're a patron or VIP, please make sure that you are on the Skype group, because that's where we're running our private lessons. And yesterday we did a private lesson and we did some actual one-to-one calls with some of the members, which was fun. So if you are a VIP or a patron, please make sure you're on the Skype group. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring this lesson to a close. I'm going to wrap up. It's been wonderful spending this year with you. Obviously very disrupted. I'm hoping next year to have a little bit more structure to the lessons that I release, and a little bit more I'd like to say that I will release on a regular schedule next year, but with the baby it's very difficult to do that, but I will do my very best. I will be live again in 2019, so please don't worry. Florian has said let's call it a day. That's a really good one. We wouldn't say call it a year, we'd call it a day. To call it a day is to say let's finish it. Let's call it a day. You're suggesting let's end things. Okay, so thank you very much. If you are interested in finding out more about what I'm getting up to about this wonderful home that I've moved into, then you can be nosy and look into all the stuff by following me on Anna's Big Adventure, which is my personal channel. And you can also follow us on Instagram. I have all my links to all my social media down in the description box below. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. So until next year, please look after yourselves, look after your families. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to leave without giving this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on that notification bell so you know when I next release a video. Who knows when it will be. Okay guys, thank you to all my VMPs, all my patrons, everyone who's dropped a super chat, and everyone who has followed any of my lessons. Take care. Lots of love. Mwah.